Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Gilliland, attorney blogger on Bowtie Law, and with Jessica Peterson on The Legal Geeks. With me is Drew Lewis from Recommind, and we're going to talk about 2014 legal tech and a few other things that we're into. Drew, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, Josh. Great to see you again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. I hope all is well in Tennessee.
It is going well. We're finally above single-digit temperature, so I have to be happy about that.
That's good. You don't need snowshoes and a tauntaun to get around. So that's
right. Yeah, I do not. I park my tauntaun. I put it in storage for the winter there.
So. That's good. I mean, PSA requirements with those are so complicated.
Right.
Well, let's talk about the law since we are attorneys, and that's what we do for a living. But 2013, people talked about TAR, and there was lots of issues with the foreign production and litigation holds. What do you foresee going into 2014 as big issues for lawyers?
I think that in 2014, I think that those issues that we're familiar with over the past few years that kind of, plague the eDiscovery lawyers, whether it's, preservation, form of production, technology assisted review, all that, I think that remains a big part of the discussion. And I think that information governance continues to become, more of a frequently used buzzword. But what I think is actually going to be interesting about 2014 is I think that we may be at a point with the technology where we can now turn our attention back on the business issues that lawyers face. There's lots of commentary out there about the legal issues that lawyers face. I don't think there's enough out there about the business challenges. I think that costs have just not come down the way that I think a lot of people expected. TAR was, held out by many as saying, okay, this is the cure-all for legal expenses. This helps bring the budget down. It does. It helps to control costs, but we've yet to really see TAR unleashed to its full potential. I still see far too many people who use some aspects of the technology, and then they'll still go back and do a linear review on everything just to make sure they didn't miss anything, and poof, all the savings are gone. I see not enough people really buying into the power of kind of using predictive coding as something more than a culling mechanism, but really using it the way that machine learning should be used, and that's to amplify human intelligence. So what I really look for, and what I'm hoping I'm going to see a lot of it at Legal Tech, is are people going to get focused on what are the business problems that law firms, in-house legal departments face, and let's solve those problems. I think the tools are in place to solve legal problems, but as I'll tell a lot of our salespeople and a lot of people I talk to, unless you're a drug dealer, you don't have a legal problem. Drug dealers have legal problems. Businesses have business problems that come in the form of legal engagements. And so I think let's find ways to solve those business problems throughout the corporate legal department and the law firms. And then I think we really start fulfilling this idea of a better way to practice law, really moving the law forward in a just and reason way, to borrow the line from Sedona, and saying that might be how you do this once you start to solve business problems for them.
What kind of business problems would you quantify that need to be solved?
Well, again, the one that comes to mind immediately from our company's standpoint, obviously, is just the cost to review. It's still the data volumes are increasing. You've got the price per gigabyte for ingestion. I'm not saying that you have to lower that cost, but what you do have to do is you have to find a reasonable way to lower the amount of data that gets pushed into the system. You saw that in the Biomet case, and there was a lot of criticism there saying, oh, well, you should have run predictive coding against the entire corpus of 21 million records. But the reason I exclude those is there's a business consideration here. Sure, I should run it against the broadest population as possible to get the best results. Do you want to pay for that? Should I have to? Or is good maybe good enough? The other one that I'm really excited about, I hear more and more people talk about this, and I love this idea. Again, from a vendor standpoint, this is one of these places where the views and opinions of Drew Lewis not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Recommind, perhaps, but I do think that we would all be well served to explore the idea of in situ production. This idea of taking the documents out of the review platform, putting them into right into a private cloud, if you will, and just saying, look, I'll give you credentials to it. You take a look at it. You want to pull out of it, that's fine. But this idea that you pay to produce documents out, you talk about one of the big business challenges that I think face litigants. That's a huge one, because we know, Josh, that's where so much money comes into the game of, I've coded them, I've reviewed them, now I have to produce them out. Well, there is the matter of the charge associated with that. Yeah. And I think that's a key business problem to solve.
Well, that, and you think back to like the Judge Grimm's point of view on clawback agreements, like that. There are ways that could be done,
Right.
that it could work. Now, did you see the second biomed opinion? It's just a 3-pager.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you, and for those who haven't read it, it dealt with the steering committee, which I'll just call the requesting party, wanting to get basically irrelevant and privileged material from the producing party, and wanting to know what the producing party, did with the stuff that they produced prior to producing it. And the court said, you don't get what's irrelevant, and you don't get what's privileged. That's not what the rules say. Nor do you get like what they used it for prior production. You don't get that either.
Right.
And that, I look at it, it's like that intrudes, in my view, upon work product. And
right.
Craig Ball and I might have slightly differing views on that, but that's
perhaps.
Because attorney impressions and analysis still matter.
Right.
And same with the issue of relevancy. Determining something to be irrelevant doesn't make it relevant.
Correct. And this is one of the areas where what happened with technology in the review process, it just feels like we're always trying to hold it to a different standard. Because if I go back 10 years ago, if you and I were opposing counsel and I asked to see the non-responsive documents, to the extent that was even really part of the lawyer vernacular, if I asked to see that, you would ask me, had I lost my mind? Because at what point, why don't I just come over and search your client's files for you? Because you don't understand the issues, and I need to have oversight. I thought that the judges, I think the last line in there saying that, I'm not going to say that they have to let them see these, but if they don't, that would somehow, I might wonder why, or something to that effect. And I thought even there, it's like, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that court should draw any inference from that. I am being a good steward of my client's information. If it's not responsive, I have no obligation to produce it. There's no way to read the rules any other way. And I don't think that just because I choose one form of review over another, I should somehow wipe away the rules of civil procedure. And at its worst, Josh, what I have said for some time, it feels like that type of interpretation is lawyer protectionism at its worst. This is how we'll keep efficient, effective review methodologies out of the practice of law. We'll make it where if you use it, you've got to show your seed set. Absolutely not. I wrote an article today, or that was published in Inside Counsel today, that kind of touches on that. There's just this, I think there's a misunderstanding about what is a seed set and how not every platform treats seed sets the same way. And I think this idea of sharing seed sets, I hope it's something that in 2014 we can put behind us and say, the technology doesn't change the review that way. It changes a lot of other things, but it doesn't change the fundamentals of it's the quest for responsive, hopefully relevant information, and anything that's not, you don't know about.
No one says produce the terms that you used in legal research.
Right.
That's just,
absolutely.
It offends me. I don't think it's the right thing. It's and only that people are getting sidetracked. It's one thing to go, there's a production gap and I'm challenging you.
Correct. And when that happens, let's have an argument. Let's have a debate about why. But even then, I think that people are so quick to say, well, let me just see the training documents. No, there may be other reasons that have nothing to do with the training documents. Can we take a look at those first?
Yeah, and it does highlight the importance of the meet and confer, and that, it's nice to have the tech experts who know what they're doing, who can get along and not just attack each other because lawyers do that. If we could actually, if you let them play nice and then they find stuff and people fight about the merits, that's great. But when you get the lawyers fighting about the tech.
Oh, yeah. Generally a train wreck waiting to happen there.
It's not healthy. It's not normal. And if we can reduce that in 14, that would be a beautiful step forward for us.
Right.
So cool. Well, we went off on a little tangent. Let's talk.
That's all right.
Now, are you going to be at Legal Tech? And
Absolutely.
You guys, will we have a nice big booth with a Recommind sign so people can find you? And
we will be hard to miss, to say the least. We will be there. I don't have the exact booth number. We will be there. Very large booth set up. Hopefully we'll have something like the coffee lounge that we had last year, which I know was a big hit. We'll have something along those lines. We've got several sessions. I've actually got a session, the end of predictive coding, with a question mark at the end, that I hope that people will really take a hard look at. It really is going to explore a lot of what we're talking about, just now with some of the aspects of predictive coding. We've come a long way, but I think to get to the next level of solving those business problems, we have to move beyond where we're at right now with our understanding and usage of the technology. So there's that. We've got a couple on information governance that Dean Gonzalski is going to be heading up. So we will be there in full presence, and hope to have a good show. Looking forward to it.
Groovy. So with that, one last question for you, since it's the beginning of the year. We're both geeks. I know you read Batman, but what geek movie, or any movie for that matter, are you looking forward to? Because there's a bunch scheduled to come out.
There are a bunch scheduled this year. The one that jumps out to me, because, and I always manage to find a way to tie it to the Dark Knight stuff, is going to be Transcendence. Nolan, Johnny Depp, who I think is arguably the greatest actor, and I mean that very seriously. I can't think of anybody else who has the range that he has. He's done some, I go all the way back even like to Cry Baby, which is a terrible movie, but it's a wonderful movie in some ways, right? He has got such a range. So you put those two together, that's something that I have to watch just for no other reason than those two things. And I'm trying to think of the other, Emma Thompson, or Thomas is part Transcendence as well, I believe.
Yeah, then the preview for that, I saw the teasers, and I know that they released a full preview that I haven't seen that one yet. And it looks interesting with the idea of getting uploaded to a computer. I mean, getting to the polarity movement, and which I am totally not comfortable. When I die, let me be dead. And
right.
I have my views on God and what happens afterwards. Don't upload me to anything, please. That's
right.
Not any.
I'm intrigued by that. I don't know why. I saw something on Nova about it. That's what old episode of Nova, and I just thought, I like that idea. I'm always looking for ways to cheat death. So any way that I can stay around, even if it's not really me, that's okay. Because if it doesn't work, and I don't know, if I'm not consciously aware of what's going on, then that'll be okay too.
Fair point. Now, there's been the I think it's on the Science Channel. Previews for a show that they have upcoming where people are visiting cemeteries where people have been uploaded to the tombstones.
Oh, wow.
So you could interact with, your dead relatives on the tombstone. And I watched that and I thought about that would suck. It's like, I have eternal life, ideally my soul's in heaven and everything's good there. Right. Echo left of me that's stuck in the cemetery waiting for people to visit the tombstone. That would stink.
But isn't that what we've already done with social media, though, right? There'll be a digital echo of you for all time. So
that sounds very Caprica, because you could determine a lot from shopping records and all that good stuff. So which then gets back into a little predictive coding. But
that's right. That's right.
But yeah, so I would, please let me be dead, please. So that would be that's my 2 cents. But I do agree, it looks cool. I think it's going to be fun. I think Her would provide a lot of other issues for eDiscovery folks to talk about as well.
Right.
And
the true geek event that I'm looking forward to this year, though, especially since Hulu has taken Carl Sagan's Cosmos off of it for the time being, is Neil deGrasse Tyson, the redo of Cosmos. I have that one etched in my mind. Whenever I saw the preview for it, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. They're going to do it. I love it. I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. I love Cosmos. So it puts together two things, again, that I'm very fond of.
The preview for that was hot. It looked like a lot of fun with the sunglasses. That was cool.
Right.
Yeah, that's a cool cat right there. So
yes,
awesome. Well, listen, Drew, I look forward to seeing you in person.
Absolutely.
Been a while since we've done that, but be well. Thanks for your time, and have an awesome Legal Tech.
You too, Josh. I look forward to seeing you there.
Actually, I'll be not there.
Not there. Okay.
It's the first week of the high school mock trial competition.
Okay.
I can't leave my students. I can't. So I'm going to miss it this year, and ideally next year. But yeah, I couldn't leave my kids who I've worked with. So
okay, I'll send you some pictures or videos of anything that looks enticing there.
I appreciate that. So
All right.
we'll see you soon. You take care.
Thanks, Josh.